Yo, what's happening, Raider Nation? It's your boy Soto here. You know what it is. Raiders versus the world, talking about the team that the world loves to hate, your Las Vegas Raiders. Okay, this story kind of knocked my socks off. We've heard all the names before. We've heard the Russell Wilsons. We've heard the Sam Darnolds. We've heard, oh, bring Derek Carr back. We've heard all these names before. I heard a name that just kind of like took me back when it comes to the quarterback market and the Raiders. Before we start, I want to make sure everyone knows, please like, comment, and subscribe and share to all your socials. It's the absolute bare minimum you can do without doing anything to help this channel grow. All right, take a seat. I'm reading the sporting news, right? And they're saying, yeah, this is a big possibility for this to happen. And they said, why? I'm sitting back and I'm like, okay, what's the precedent here, right? Well, let Mike Garafolo tell you about this.
Let's talk about the Raiders because you got a new regime there from top to bottom in that organization, and they're going to have to make some decisions at the quarterback position. I said decisions. Are you looking for a blueprint? Look at the last time that Pete Carroll joined an organization. The Seahawks traded for Charlie Whitehurst. They signed Matt Flynn, and then they drafted Russell Wilson, and they weren't afraid to start Wilson, who was a third-round pick. General manager John Spytek mentioned the day that he was introduced, you're seeing that right there, that he's on board with that approach. So expect the Raiders to make multiple plays to fill the quarterback position, and then again, not be afraid to start whoever winds up being the best player for them at the position.
Yeah, it makes sense. Like when Pete Carroll took over Seattle, he knew he needed to address that quarterback position. And he's like, all right, well, I need more quarterback talent in my quarterback room. So let me trade for Charlie Whitehurst, which he did. Let me sign Matt Flynn after like maybe 2 good games with the Packers. And then let me draft a Russell Wilson in the 3rd round. Now, he wasn't afraid to start Wilson above all those other guys because, I mean, I've been telling you guys from the very beginning, Pete Carroll does not care where you were drafted, how much money you make, how cool you are. He doesn't care. If you're the best player for the job, you're going to be able to play. So that's kind of proof in the pudding, right? So look, what do? Do we sign one, trade one, draft one? Is that what we're doing? I don't know if we're going to do exactly that, but I do know that this quarterback room is going to look completely different next season. All right, let's take a look at the Matt Stafford trade, why it would happen, why it could happen, the ramifications, and whatnot. First off, yes, he's 37 years old, and he had a major injury to his neck a few years ago that I thought potentially was going to cause him to retire. He's all good. He's all healthy, and he wants to play. He's told the Rams he wants to play. He wants a new deal. The deal's probably going to be, from what they're saying on the Sporting News, around $150 million for 3 years. Seems kind of steep for a 37-year-old quarterback, but he's still one of the better quarterbacks in the league. Like, legitimately one of the better quarterbacks in the league. So, isn't he happy with the Rams? Like, what's going on there? Well, the Rams seem to be going into a little bit of a youth movement, right? They got Cooper Kupp, who's on the wrong side of 30, who's had some injuries and making a ton of money. And they told him straight up, homie, you're not going to be back next year. We're going to flip you for something. We're not going to just keep you here because we want to get younger. We want to get more pieces to round out this team. Do they move on from Matt Stafford? I don't know, man. I mean, eventually you're going to have to. Does that mean that the Rams are going to be in the market for a quarterback in the 1st round, maybe even the 2nd round? Who knows? It seemed a little bit of far-fetched to me, but when you take a look at the fact that when Pete Carroll took over the Seahawks, he wanted to hit the ground running. So what did he do? He scoured. He used every avenue possible to find a new quarterback. The 3 ways you can get a new quarterback on your team is you trade for one, you sign one in free agency, and you draft one. He did all 3 of those in the same year. Could he do that again? Possibly, but I don't think any of the players that he picked up in his first go-around with Seattle had the prestige, the talent, or the ability at the time that they took him than a Matt Stafford does right now. He's going to command a lot of money. That's something we're just going to have to deal with if we make this happen. He's going to be expensive. He's going to be older. I don't know that Matt Stafford is going to be able to run a typical Chip Kelly offense. Now, Chip Kelly is really good. He's going to be able to make an offense and build it around the strengths of the quarterback. So I don't see him doing any design runs or quarterback draws or anything like that. But the pocket is going to move. Is that going to be okay for Matt Stafford? I don't know. That's another reason why I don't think this is going to be something that we're going to do. But I have to report on it because I'm hearing it. Matt Stafford is not going to be anything more than a short-term solution for the Raiders. He's not going to be there for a long time, but he may be there for a good time. The thing is, you bring a quarterback of Matt Stafford's ability, right, and track record to any team, and they're immediately going to be playoff contenders. Do I feel like the Raiders are one player away from making the playoffs? I don't. I still think we need a lot of help in the draft, in free agency, and signing our own players as well. It is intriguing to get a Matt Stafford for a few years because you know for a fact he's going to perform better than, let's say, a Sam Darnold, right? Is he going to be more expensive? Oh yeah, he's going to be much more expensive than Sam Darnold. But you know what you're getting with a Matthew Stafford. You're also getting his wife, who's on a podcast, who likes to talk a lot, but whatever, that's neither here nor there. What we're talking about now is Matthew Stafford's play on the field. It hasn't really dropped off any. He made Puka Nacua a star. He made Cooper Kupp a star. You know, he did have the advantage of having a strong run game in Kyrie Williams. Is he going to have that with the Raiders? Let's hope for his sake it does, if this whole thing does end up happening. Again, a lot of speculation here. I'm not sure how feasible if this is, or how close this is to even happening, or if there hasn't been any talks. All I'm saying is the Raiders have to do something at quarterback. And I know for a fact, and we all know for a fact off of track record, that John Spytek has been known with Tom Brady to go out and get star quarterbacks. He's also known to go out and get struggling quarterbacks who maybe have some upside, like Baker Mayfield, right? So he's done it a couple of different ways. And Pete Carroll, also the same thing. Charlie Whitehurst was a guy who was on the Chargers and had a big things under his name. He was backing up Phillip Rivers, but he had a lot of talent. Let's go trade for him. Matt Flynn had a couple of hot games at the end of the season, the previous season from the Packers. Let's go get him. And there's this Russell Wilson kid. Let's go ahead and get this guy too. So what does that mean for the quarterbacks on the current roster? Currently, there's three. There's Gardner Minshew, there's Aiden O'Connell, and there's Carter Bradley. Carter Bradley, we just haven't seen any from him. Okay, we haven't seen enough to say yes or no from this kid. As far as Gardner Minshew goes, I think he's pretty much a lock to get cut. It just didn't work out. We expected too much of him, and we needed too much of him. We needed a lot more of him than he was capable of giving, given the situation with the offense and the offensive coordinator and things like that. It just, the lack of a running game, none of it really worked, and he just bottomed out. That's all. That brings us to Aiden O'Connell. Now, I'm an Aiden O'Connell fan. I like Aiden O'Connell a lot. But when it comes to the most important position on any team sports team, right, you got to be objective here. We're looking at Aiden O'Connell. What are the pluses and the minuses? Well, the pluses are he's a good kid. He's got a decent arm. He's not as accurate as maybe was reported in his draft scouting profile. He needs some help with his accuracy, but he's a smart kid. He knows how to command an offense, and he can run an offense pretty decently if he has a nice run game going. The weaknesses: his arm, although it's not a weak arm, it's just an average NFL arm, nothing special about it. So you really can't hang your hat on that arm doing anything special. Matt Stafford's arm is much better. He's also, even at his advanced age, more mobile than Aiden O'Connell. Aiden O'Connell, man, he's a throw. They're both kind of throwbacks, pocket passers, stuff like that. But, man, Aiden O'Connell, he was born maybe 15, 20 years too late, because that era is kind of gone. You see all the quarterbacks that are making the playoffs now, all those guys pick up 3, 4, maybe more first downs a game with their legs and score touchdowns with their legs. I don't know that Aiden O'Connell can ever do that, especially with the Chip Kelly offense coming in. You can't really unlock all the potential of a Chip Kelly offense if your quarterback isn't very mobile, which unfortunately Aiden O'Connell isn't. To sum it up, man, it's a bold strategy for the Raiders if indeed this does happen. Is it possible? Sure. I don't think it's very probable. I don't know that Matt Stafford will want to leave a situation like the Rams to go with a situation like the Raiders, because I don't know that he wants to start over again. He already went from a bad situation with the Detroit to go with the Rams with a much better situation. It all depends on what they want to do with him. They're not going to cut Matthew Stafford because it's going to be too big of a cap hit for them, number one, and who they're going to replace him with. If you do a trade, at least you get some capital back if you're the Rams to be able to draft a quarterback. What that capital is going to be, I wouldn't suggest that it's going to be something very high, maybe a third-round pick, because you still have to pay the guy. It's not like you're going to get a guy on the cheap. So, yeah, it's a tough situation, man. It's a tough situation here. But, man, when you need a quarterback, you're going to have to exhaust all avenues to make sure that you do everything you can to get the best player that you can to be your quarterback going now and going forward. All right, guys, let me know what you guys think of this whole situation. A bomb was dropped on us with the potential of a Matthew Stafford trade to the Raiders from the Rams. What do you think if it does happen? What do you think the contract's going to look like afterwards? What do you think the compensation going over to the Rams is going to look like? And how do you see this marriage moving forward if indeed it does happen? Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe on this video here and share to all your socials. It's the absolute minimum you can do to help this channel without doing absolutely nothing. All right, guys, appreciate your time. Until next time, everybody. Peace.
Hey, Raider Nation, thanks for watching. There's plenty more where that came from. Go ahead and smash that like button, drop a comment, make sure to subscribe and share to all your socials. It's the bare minimum you can do without doing absolutely nothing.